young kids. 'Cause all
I'd like to call this meeting to order. Will the clerk please read the statement?
This is a meeting of the Township Council for Monday, November 13, 2017. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public and the press on January 5, 2017, and was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Roll call.
Councilmember Kadish.
Here.
Councilmember Ooms.
Here.
Councilmember Rizzuto.
Here.
Councilmember Wetzel. Council President Berkman.
Here.
Councilmember-elect Allberger.
Here.
Councilmember-elect Van Tassel.
Here.
I'd like to welcome council members-elect Allberger and Van Tassel. They'll be joining us to observe in a non-voting member, so welcome. Would you please rise to salute the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ken, is this yours or mine?
I think it's an extra.
This evening, we have a proclamation for pancreatic cancer. Would Councilmember Ohms please read the proclamation?
Sure. Excuse me. Whereas health and safety is important to the happiness, prosperity, and well-being of our communities and families, and whereas in 2017, an estimated 53,670 individuals will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States. And whereas there are no effective early detection methods presently available, and most symptoms such as weight loss, loss of appetite, feeling tired, and pain in the upper of middle abdomen and back can be mistaken for chronic pains and could be attributed to other conditions. And whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer becomes apparent, it is usually after the cancer has advanced and spread to other organs. And whereas the good health and well-being of the residents in the Township of Vernon are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and research of early detection, causes, and effective treatments. And whereas throughout the month of November, organizations, health practitioners, and residents in this Township of Vernon are encouraged to take the opportunity to promote awareness about pancreatic cancer and to support those patients currently battling pancreatic cancer and those who have lost loved ones to this horrible disease. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Vernon that the month of November shall be proclaimed Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in the Township of Vernon, and urge all residents to recognize the need to bring awareness to the fight against this deadly disease. November 17th, Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month in Vernon Township, signed by Harry J. Shortway, Mayor, and Jean Murphy, Council President.
Thank you. And just to let the record reflect that Councilmember Wetzel arrived. May I have a motion to open the floor to public session?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to come up and make a comment? Please step up. Please step up. Please state your name and the area of town you live in.
My name is Anthony Horler. I live in Berry Lakes. I think it's later in the agenda that I just saw, the public ordinance. There's a lot next to me that's been foreclosed on by the town for at least 6 years. And my name was down on wanting this property even before the foreclosure. I've been down to the administration, talking to different people every couple months for the last 6 years. Promised that that lot would be on for sale for the next sale. Some of my neighbors for other properties got it. It's not on there. So I'm just wondering why that property, that's a small lot, which is what's going forward, non-buildable lot, didn't pass perk tests in the past and everything, why that one would be held and not put on this when there's obviously someone willing to pay taxes and has been for 6 years? Like, why does the town not want taxes?
Well, as far as that lot goes, we're not aware of why the lot's not put on, because we don't know which lot it is. So,
102.12, lot 25. I've been doing it for 6 years. I have it memorized. So I just want to know why that one specifically, because it falls under the category of small lot, non-buildable, should be, and someone's interested. I just don't know why.
yeah.
So
Is that one of the ones that we wrote together?
there's a file on it. There's a folder. There's been letters written to the mayor when requested, and everything. So
Do you just want him to leave his information? You can contact him.
There may have been another lot next door to it that was also adjacent, or was also a smaller lot, and that we may be in the process of foreclosing on and looking to
Join them.
join them. But
it may have. It definitely wasn't prior, but
we can,
So,
What was the lot again, number?
102.12,
lot
25.
25, okay, thank you.
15 Beach Street.
Thank you. Strange. Can we get your contact information? Yeah. It's all in there. It's in the folder, but it's in the corner.
Good evening. My name is Krista Gary. I'd like to thank all the candidates for devoting many hours to their campaign during the recent election and to congratulate the winners on their success. The public has voiced their opinion in your favor. My heart goes out to those who have lost. Dick Wetzel and Patrick Rizzuto, I haven't always agreed with you, but I want to thank you for your dedication and many years of service to this community. Sally Rinker worked so tirelessly during her campaign. I know as I supported her throughout it. Sally, thanks for all you've done and will continue to do for our community. Sally Rinker is and always will be an innovative thinker. In life, it's difficult to lose, as we all want to be winners. We should never get too discouraged by the obstacles that confront us along the way. Leap over them, keep on going, and never give up. This town needs those with new ideas. We can't think the same, but we can still work things out together by compromise and negotiation. I went on Facebook the other day as someone told me about a new political site that had been formed to attack those of the divergent group. Even Dick Wetzel was victimized by being found guilty by association. Much information was also put out about Sally Rinker. This is negative, dirty politics at its lowest, as it brought up situations from the past that was all one-sided, was most likely taken out of context, and no one on the hit list had the opportunity to refute it. I was extremely disappointed with this. These tactics are often used in the power play of politics. It has been said many times that there is more honor among thieves than there is among politicians. Truth never seems to be a virtue in politics. The Bible itself quotes that we should see to it that no one takes you captive through hollow and deceptive philosophy. Unfortunately, we all too often are prone to believe distortions put out by others. If something is repeated often enough, most people would begin to believe it or have doubts about their original beliefs. As individuals, we continue to write our own plays as we adapt to life around us. For everyone who's been elected in public office, let this be the beginning of a new chapter of honor, truth, transparency, and justice. Don't be afraid to speak up for what you believe in. Challenge one another, and don't just blindly agree to things. Thank you very much.
thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come up?
Hello. Sorry, can't talk too well. My name is Audrey Falgaris. I'm the president of Lake Panorama Community Association. And recently, we at Lake Panorama decided we were going to make a capital improvement in the lake community. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with when you come into Lake Panorama, come in Winding Hill and the road splits, and there's just a mountain in front of us. So we had a wall put in that we're going to put this beautiful sign on. Apparently, allegedly, it's township property, and someone from the township has a significant problem with this project we started. When we started it, we thought that the property was delinquent dues payer, and we were on the easement or off the easement there on the wall for where the mountain is. Anyway, with how things look terrible, we had a really old sign down on the side of the road that became a really eyesore bulletin board. So now we have this wall that we're trying to keep there, and we've been told to take it down. And it costs thousands of dollars. So I'm going to let Tony Inari and Tom give you more information regarding that, but I'm hoping we can work something out with the township in regards to this situation.
Good evening, everybody. Anthony Inari. Like Audrey had said, pertaining to the wall, initially when we had looked up for the wall and chosen this spot, I'll give you the lot and block number. We were under the assumption that it was owned by a delinquent dues payer, and we had gone by the fact that of past history where the telephone poles are the demarcation of the line for the easement, and we were off the telephone pole. I have a picture here that'll show you, and we had just assumed that we were on the property that was in delinquent. And I'll give you the lot and block number in 1 second. It's a 0.44 acres. It's assessed at $38,100. The town acquired property ownership on 2011 through a tax lien on foreclosure. And it is lot 7316, block 49. It is, from my understanding of speaking to several parties within the municipality offices, it is a conforming lot and it can't come up till the spring. We would either like to purchase it or work out some type of lease agreement with the town. We feel that we're off the easement enough due to the old telephone pole that is there, and that was the line that we used. If we're not off the easement, you know, we're here to beg forgiveness, you know. We did something that we felt was right for our community, so when prospective homeowners come in and they pull up and they see a beautiful sign there and they say, well, at least the community is working to keep our area clean and beautification. So that's where we stand. We're at your forgiveness, basically. You know, we put a $10,000 wall up that we can't afford to take back down. We have a sign made ready to put up. We're respecting the stop work order. We have not progressed any further. We feel it's off the easement. If you want us to pay for some type of survey or whatever to get through it, or you can give us permission till spring, we'll buy the property or we'll work out a lease agreement. Anything you guys or ladies and gentlemen come up with, we're willing to, you know, accept and move on. We can't afford to knock this one down. So, you know, we're at your forgiveness. So thank you very much.
Excuse me, so excuse me, sir,
Yes.
where in the process? So you went to the town?
Well,
What's
the
the
wall
town doing?
is under 4 feet, so Tom is our property maintenance chairperson. He could explain what he did. He called the municipality, the office, and we were under the understanding that if it's under 4 feet, we do not need an engineer and we were okay to go without a permit. So that's what we did.
You have a picture. Do you know where
I'll show you.
Yeah, if you
you know
can.
when you pull into Panorama and you go straight up and it wise, it's right there. Because I actually
Right in
drove.
front there?
This is the wall. This is what we went off as the easement, the telephone pole. I'll give you a further shot.
So how did you discover that it was on town property and not?
The zoning and
They were given a
the
stop
water,
work
the
order.
DPW worker.
Oh, okay, so they noticed it.
In other words, it's in the road right away.
Well, according to past practice, the telephone pole is usually the line that ends the easement, and we're off the telephone pole. I can't take that, you know, I can't swear to it in the court of law, but that's usually what the line of demarcation is. And you see, we put the drain was here, that's the township drain, and this is the wall that we improved on. So, yeah, we made a mistake. We're not gonna lie to you. You know, we did a wall that we thought was on a delinquent property that we were gonna say, you know, we tried to get in touch with the person, fell on deaf ears. We would just, you know, say, okay, we're using your property now because you was delinquent. He never paid his dues in 20 years.
Do me a favor.
So, yes, sir.
Don't call it Jericho.
I'm sorry?
Don't call it Jericho.
What?
Because Jericho came down. Why don't you see?
It's the Wailing Wall for David. How's
The
that?
way, why don't you
So
consult with the mayor and the business
Yeah.
administrator?
We just don't, we're just asking that we don't have to remove it right now.
And what you're saying is this lot's going up for, you've contacted the town and it's going
I
up.
spoke to Irene, and I spoke to Allison, and I spoke to Lauren. Lauren said it's a conforming lot, meaning that it's, I guess it's perkable at one point or whatever. It comes to the square footage, 4.44 acres. It's not gonna go up till March.
I can tell you that, I told you that conforming lots were gonna go up for sale in the spring, but.
In the spring.
But I didn't know if
March.
that lot would be included
Right.
in the sale.
Well, yeah, well, I got it, pretty much.
So your option is to purchase the lot? Is that, or,
It actually is the township's road, so it's not just the lot, it's
Right.
actually the street. They built on actually the township's.
Well, but that is a point, that's the point of
that's
contention.
debatable? Okay.
That's debatable.
So what's the next step in the process?
Well, they've been in,
Without a
What's-
reliable.
have they been
without a
to zoning?
reliable,
yeah, the zoning officers
survey,
who stopped
We don't know
them.
where the road ends and where the road begins. We just used the telephone pole as the line of demarcation, like I had said,
The-
because that's what they use.
And were you, and the road sign was there, the sign,
Right.
right?
Right.
And that came down,
The
right?
town has that. We were gonna replace it, but the town took it.
The town took it. So when the
Right. Well,
DPW
we
went,
are-
so when the DPW went there, they discovered it and the sign was down, and then they called zoning? I'm just trying to
I
get,
don't know how they did it, but yeah, well, they said that we put our wall where they're gonna put the snow.
okay.
So, I don't know why they put the snow uphill. When it melts, it goes downhill and causes a freezing. It
Okay.
refreeze again, so it's
So you're-
less to work, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
The problem is that we did something that somebody said it's on your property, and we want to make it right.
Okay.
Basically, that's what we're here for. Right?
Yeah, in addition to Tony's comments, I'm Tom Malero. Like Tony said before, I'm the maintenance manager. There's photos inside that, inside this set here. So Tony and Audrey mentioned this as a beautification process, but it's also meant to repair 20 years worth of an eroding wall that you can see here. On the way up from said, sorry,
Tom, just throw that anywhere.
So in addition to improving the community, we've had about 150 feet of township road eroding into the actual driveway where our residents drive up every day. You could go down there during any heavy rain and see large rocks and boulders actually in the middle of the road. I personally have been cleaning the road up I've been in Lake Panorama for 10 years now. It's been an ongoing issue. So in addition to a beautification process, it's also to improve safety in the community. As you can see there, it's a real danger. We certainly don't want happening in Lake Panorama what happened on Route 94 with our only entrance in and out of the community. It could be a real issue, say that hill actually gives way. So we did repair a portion of it. We couldn't repair the entire thing. I had a quote of almost $150,000 to do so. Like I said, in conjunction with being a beautification process, we are improving overall safety within the community. So I don't know if you folks want to hold on to those photos or...
Well,
We can give them
what's-
to the business
What's the
administrator.
process? So when there's a dispute like this, what is the process?
We have to check the statutes, I have to get all the reports, and then we meet with the staff and see what the story is.
Corey, do you know what the road return is at that point?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
There's some question as to the actual easement and where it can be. I don't know if you folks are familiar with Lake Panorama. There used to be a guard shack and an oak tree. They used to be in the center of that intersection many years ago. Familiar with some of the building laws. I'm in no way an expert in any way, shape, or form. But based upon where that tree was in old photos, we are way past any easement that we understood prior to building this wall. And just another assurance of that is the location of the telephone pole. We thought we were doing everything right. Turns out we might have made a mistake. So
When, Mr. Nori, when you spoke to Irene, you left your phone number?
Yes,
Okay.
everybody has my number.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anything we could do.
We're just asking for your consideration and, you know,
Okay.
a little sympathy for the devil here.
Well, it seems as if it's in the town's
We were doing it in good faith and really trying to improve
And that's why we're here. We're here in good faith, so.
All right.
All right.
Well, thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You too.
They got faith in religion after they screwed up.
Hi, I'm Brianna Wagner. I'm from Berry Lakes, and I'm here for the same issue that Tony was about a property that was.
And you have to speak louder, please.
Sorry, I'm here for the same issue that Tony was about a property that was that the town owns, and it wasn't on the auction list that went out to the neighbors. And I was told that it was going to be out because it was already in the folder and everything. I think I spoke to you. Is it, no, not you?
Do you have the lot and block? Do you have the lot and block or the address?
It's 103.12, lot 32. So I just wanted to know, because I was told it was going to be up for this next auction, like how to go about getting it, because there's only one other neighbor, and I don't think that they want it. So I want it.
Okay. So Chuck, is it all right if she leaves her information with you and then?
Here a second. Yeah, so.
And what was your first name?
Brianna.
Brianna.
Anna.
Really like the cheese and it.
Phone number?
It's 201-637-65.
6265?
And
Okay.
all of my information's in the folder because I've gone up a few times and talked and asked about it. So I guess you guys acquired it in 2015.
Okay, we'll check it out and we'll give you a call. Thank you. Appreciate
Is there anyone else that would like to address the council?
I just wanted to add to the Lake Panorama. I'm part of the community there. I'm not on the board or anything.
And your name is?
Matthew Berberich. That portion of the road there in the winter months, because it's just a very steep slope. There's excessive amounts of water that come across the roadway there, which create an ice hazard. I noticed he said something about pushing the snow up against there. I mean, realistically, the work that they did it's more aesthetically pleasing and actually serves a purpose. Being that it's got the retaining wall now, and they fixed the drainage, it should prevent some of that water buildup on the roadway and creating unsafe conditions for, the community members coming in and out. And, I mean, it really doesn't do any harm. It's not a structure. It's not a structural wall. It's under the 4 feet. And I just believe it actually improves, if anything, the township property, if it is on township property. It really just makes it look a lot more aesthetically pleasing. So I just wanted to add that to it. All right, thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Craig Williams from the Glenwood section of town. I'm a member of the Vernon Township Environmental Commission and also a member of the Greenway Action Advisory Committee. Speaking tonight regarding Resolution 17-192 and asking for your support in advancing the application for a grant that could take what we've done as volunteers and really take it to the next step and improve what we've already done and expand on it to make a very pleasant experience for people off of the roadway as a biking or hiking endeavor. And the more support we have through hopefully the Department of Transportation, the much more we can do. There's a lot of volunteer support, but this really takes it to a new level, and we would certainly encourage your support for what we're already doing. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Mike Fury, 44 Sand Hill Road in Vernon. As Craig said, I'm also the chair of the Environmental Commission and also the chair of the Greenway Action Advisory Committee. I've been in front of this council a few times talking about some of our efforts. And tonight I want to speak to the same resolution that Craig was speaking about, 17-192, to authorize and submit an application to the DOT for a grant. This is these are some of the monies that we've been trying to actively pursue. We don't have a lot of money to pursue some of the plans that we have. So something like this is a real, and I want to commend Mayor Shortway and his staff to moving forward and putting the application forward to you. And what we're really doing is looking for your support, because this is the support that we need to really move us from what we're doing as volunteers to what we need to do as a township. I think we think it's a good thing. We've been working on this for a good 2 years, and the committees really would look like your support. This is what we're looking for tonight. We hope we can get that support. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? Sally Rinker, Vernon. Good evening.
I want to express my sincere congratulations to the newly elected councilman. Yeah, impressive win. Working on the issues for our town's success is no easy task, but it absolutely can and must be done. It is with your addition to this council that we place our trust and our hope that you will make the good difference. Please read our Faulkner Act form of government if you have not. Remember, each one of you has no more or less authority than any other single council person. Please do not abdicate your responsibilities to the mayor, as I have seen the mayors under this new form take advantage of that. Don't be comfortable with spoon-fed select information. Please ask questions, get your own facts in black and white for yourselves. During this campaign season, the mayor and his friend Mike Fury did you no favors by using misinformation and defamation on your opponents. In fact, they stole from you the opportunity of winning without dirty politics, unfortunately, and I'm sure it wasn't your choice. But you are now in these seats come January, and I want to ask you, on behalf of the Vernon Taxpayers Association and myself, that you show us you are better than the politics of this mayor, and that you will be the ones that show inclusiveness and real community that will move Vernon forward. I sincerely wish you good luck.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the council?
Hi, I'm Tony Chile, Settlers Road in Vernon. I am just here also to ask for your support regarding Resolution 17-192. I am on the Greenway with Mike and Craig, and we have done a lot of work as volunteers, and just seeing the amount of people that come in and use our trails. The Appalachian Trail, if you go by on like a fall day, it's crowded. The Canal Road is crowded. It's just such a great opportunity for our town to build, to have people come into our town and to build our town up. So I'm just asking you to let us apply for the grant. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the council? Seeing no one else, may I have a motion to close? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have the mayor's report.
Good evening, and congratulations to our newly elected council people. Basically, all I want to say tonight is, again, about Resolution 17-192, which will give us an opportunity to start developing the trail system that actually has been envisioned since the 1990s. We have Maple Grange, but we have to start connecting them. So what I've done tonight is ask our engineer is here tonight to answer any of your questions, if you so will it, that we could discuss it at this point since he's here now. And also, you may have questions also on Resolution 17-208 regarding hooking up the building to water and the rejection of the bids. Mr. Stoner can explain more about the grant process. And again, this is just to apply. We don't know how much money will be awarded, if any. The maximum we're looking at, $250,000 would be $15,000. It can be labor by the DPW or $15,000 cash if we were going to get that amount. It could be, like I said, nothing. It could be $10,000. We don't know. But this is an opportunity, if we can go forward, to be awarded $250,000. So if you have any questions, please direct them to Mr. Stoner.
If you don't mind, I'll just say a few comments about the grant process. The DOT grant, we submitted at the beginning of October, we submitted 2 municipal aid grants to the DOT. The first one was a grant application for Wayway Yonder Road improvements, which I believe that resolution was approved at your last council meeting. And then the second one we put together is a bike trail project, which we call it the Town Center Bike Trail Project, which would start in the back of the municipal building, go down through the PAL, work over toward Black Creek Drive and over toward the sewer, one of the pump stations, and other property owned by the municipality. That grant was a $250,000 project. We put in there a matching part of it, $15,000. Knowing that the DOT looks more favorable if there is municipal skin in the game. And that $15,000, like Carrie had stated, it can be either monetary or it can be done with your own forces. What I state by that is your crews have worked on many projects with me to help facilitate a better price. Like, for instance, the Salt Dome to the PD impound building in the back. Your guys are very resourceful. So it's very easy, $15,000 could be made up with clearing site type work, grading excavation type activities, things of that nature, if the funds are not there for the $15,000 match. This also, the grant, if we obtain that in 2018, where we would hope that we construct in 2018, you normally have 18 months to do the project. So if your funds did not allow it, you could budget into the next cycle. But this, we did put in our priorities. We had to put down a priority for municipal local aid. Number 1 was the roadway improvements, and then number 2 was the bike and walking trail. What our hope is that every cycle there's certain funds that go toward different types of projects. If we have a good project put together, which we believe we have one, it would be sometimes they set aside walking trail grants, money for those type of projects, and we're set up to do that. The path will be a paved path, very much like what's at Maple Grange Park. If anybody's walked the trail system, goes around the park, it'd be very much of that type, where it was a paved path, and it's about 1 mile in length. Okay.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I do. Let me find it.
You had a question, or you're?
Yeah, so you said this in your email that this was a conservative estimate, the $15,000.
I always make sure when we do our estimates, roadway improvements or bike trails or any type of improvements, we try to err on the side of conservative nature, because we don't know what the price of asphalt will be, labor will be, things of that nature. So I feel comfortable that the amount requested is sufficient for the project. Normally these grants, it's very unlikely we get 100% of the money we ask for. Okay, so if we ask for $250,000, we'll be finding that they spread the money around different projects, and maybe we'll get 75 cents on the dollar. So if this project comes, if they give us a grant of the $200,000 range, I don't know if that'd be enough to do the project, but we'd have to look at the project and see if there's ways that we can reduce the scope to get it into that dollar amount. But I know at $250,000, I think it's conservative when it comes to the price of asphalt, price of excavation, things of that nature. I don't want to do it just for today, the best price I get today on the bid. I want to make sure we have some room that if the bids come in more than expected, we have it covered. Say contingency.
So it's not assured that we're going to get the $250. We could get $200, and then we would have to put in the $65.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. We do this on roadway projects quite often. For instance, if you don't get the funds, you can reduce the length of the project. For instance, at 7 mile, we do 0.8 of a mile. Rather than paved path, maybe we do a paved path for a section, and we do a stone cinders kind of gravel type path for part of it until the funds allow. There's different things we can scope and re-engineer the project to bring the scope down. And that's done quite often. We do that on roadway projects a lot of the times where we ask for a dollar amount and we get significantly less. Sometimes in those projects where we have a different phase, where we're doing multiple phase projects, we'll shrink a project down a little bit to get it into the funds that are permitted, and you're allowed to do that.
Is this all town property, this path going to be on?
I think it's all town property. There's a piece that would, we require an easement just for access, but the majority of it, I think over 90% of it is municipal property.
Okay, so that other 10, who does it belong to?
Baldwin's.
Baldwin's.
Who does it?
Baldwin's.
Okay. Okay, so we don't know yet if we'll have that easement.
Not 100%, no. But if it's given a verbal that he would have no objection to that. If that would become an issue, let's put it this way, if that becomes an issue, then you can modify the scope of the project to not go on that property. For instance, if you couldn't get from the PL property over to the other municipal properties, you could start on the other municipal properties at the bottom of Black Creek, and we'll change the scope a little bit.
And did you say PAL? None of this is on PAL property, is it?
It goes...
MUA easement, and the PAL is also on board. MUA easement, and it's also...
I'm sorry.
The PAL is also on board. They both have given us written permission to cut a path through their properties. Later on, we will work out the agreements. The problem with the Baldwin property is it's in probate court, waiting to see when they're able to sell it, and then we would look at open space, which would come before the council. Right now, they put cattle on the property. They just ask we stay outside the fence, and that's right above where Pump House 1 is. And then you go up the hill there, there's, I think it's about 15 acres that we have where the DPW use it to store materials. And on the back side of that property, which is actually the front side along 94, we have 3 lots there equaling approximately 6 acres. That's where they bought the property years ago to put a firehouse. Mm-hmm. We have all that property there also. So we're trying to hook that property there, hooking up the senior citizen or restricted living project here, everything down to the senior center. Also, hopefully, an amphitheater up here, right in the center of town, hooking up the commerce, town center. And for people to, other than getting in cars driving, they can walk, jog, or ride a bike.
The nice part about starting at this
So
location...
for this project, it's just Baldwin, MUA, and PL?
And Township.
And Township, okay.
Township. We're trying to stay with properties that we don't have to go through buying a lot of open space. The 2 Baldwins that the property was left to, one lives, I think, in Vermont, the other, I think, is in the Midwest. They're not interested in keeping it, and they're interested in selling it, but we can't have any kind of transaction till the court releases it.
Okay, and then one last question. So if we have to put money in a line item for this next year, where would it go?
It would be matching funds for grants.
Okay.
It would be a separate line.
For the whole project? The project costs?
No, just the matching.
Okay,
Well, the grant
matching.
will be
Okay.
put in the budget
The
as
grant
well.
comes in and out.
Right.
Okay.
Is this project eligible for ADA use, and are federal funds available to support it?
I'm not sure about the federal funds part about it. We will be designing it with ADA in mind, though.
That's been a major consideration, especially down here, is to have it ADA compliant.
I mean, the boardwalk was built supposedly to support wheelchair traffic, and of course...
You can't pass through. That's
can't
why
do
I
it now.
think on the specs, we have it as 8 feet right now to allow plenty of room, also with baby strollers, et cetera. But really, when you have a senior center here and trying to encourage our older citizens to be healthy and allow them to get along, around without just getting in a car, if they still drive, we're allowing them this affordability. So we really want to ADA compliant.
Part of the application talks about urban aid or as a depressed rural center. Are we eligible for that? As far as I know, we fall within the population, and we're certainly rural.
I don't think.
And there are others who describe us as being depressed in terms of jobs.
I don't think you do. I don't know all the specifics.
Well, I was wondering whether it was pursued or not, because
it was not pursued.
The second observation I have in terms of the application is in the scope description. It says a new senior housing development.
It's proposed.
it's 55 age restricted housing. It's not senior housing.
Okay.
When it went through the planning board, there were many things that did not support senior housing, like outside mailboxes, outside disposal units, no elevators, no management on site. So it really shouldn't be described as senior housing. It should be described only as 55 age restricted. I hope we get senior housing. We certainly need it as our age of our population increases.
That part of the description is only to explain that there is development that is proposed in the town center that would help support the need for walking trails.
Yes. Great project.
And where are people going to park? Town hall here?
Well, that would be the argument is you already have a parking lot that is available. Most of these, you find a lot of your trail systems today, that's part of the problem. People don't have a place to park. At least if they start here, they do have a location that they could park and get directly out of their vehicle and then be able to go directly into their use.
Is there enough parking, though, when the municipal building is open, then you have seniors? So in the middle of the day, is there going to be enough parking, or will PAL allow parking?
Again, we don't have a written agreement with PAL, but the other alternative that we've been exploring for over a year is the end of Black Creek Drive. If you're going down the road to the left, we have open area right there, and we wanted to make that a trailhead. So you would have parking there, you would have parking here in different areas, and that's close to we're expanding the town center to include that area, so those other front lots we have for redevelopment. So we had to expand the town center. We're working on the redevelopment designation. The parking lot would be behind there because you could walk up. You have the H&H strip mall there. You have Wings there. And then I've already talked to Senator Orho's office about getting grants to get sidewalks, curbs, so you cross the street on 94 there to get into the town center.
This project, before it ever be constructed, would go from a conceptual design, plan that we have right now, would go to a preliminary design that can be presented to this council for approval before it goes out to the final bid and design and construction. They definitely could go through that process because at this point we know the project, we know the area that it wants to be. Some of the project specifics still obviously have to be worked out. But without the grant, knowing that there's a possibility of the grant application, it is very unlikely that the town's ready to put that kind of money together for a project without having a grant. And it's a little chicken or the egg scenario. If the grant is actually a possibility, we're putting enough of the design together that we have a workable project, and there's details have to be worked out, that's for sure.
Well, we tabled this last time, last meeting, because we didn't have the details. We didn't even know what our portion was, the matching portion.
Right.
So I suggest going further, when you ask for grants, is to bring the engineer in, because now we have all the answers. Had we had all these answers at the last meeting, we could have voted, but there was too much and we didn't have these answers. So maybe it should be routine that when you present grants and these road construction projects and stuff, to have whoever's working on it come and speak to us. I have no issue with that.
Typical grants in the past, we've been mostly with the roadway. This grant application had a good opportunity for a bike trail, and I have no problems coming in anytime we do this.
Yeah, we'll facilitate things, that's all. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other members have any questions? Dick, Pat?
No. The other thing Harry had mentioned was the bids for the water connection for the municipal building. We did receive bids. However, we only received two bids, and I believe they were high in nature. Granted, the lowest bid was $97,000, and the connection was much higher than what we thought it was going to be. Part of the reason was due to some apparatus and some backflow preventers, things of that nature that the Suez would require for the connection to the building. If everybody knows what I'm talking about, is could bring the water supply from the main that would be energized in the street, brought into the municipal building for two reasons: one for fire suppression and one for domestic use, so we can cease the use of the existing well. and the other would be a connection into the DPW and the animal control building with a connection into Suez live line. The bids, like I stated, came in about 97. My proposal, I had suggested, recommended that we reject those bids and we can put it back out. And, one, to get more bidders. I think the time, I was trying to get it done before the end of the year. I think the time constraints was part of the issue. If we put it back out to bid, we'll put it back out in December, take bids, and go to construction as soon as we possibly can when the weather breaks. And I would hope we can bring the bids back and receive the bids in December and award in January, and then move on from there. Suez is holding off. They will connect their line when we connect the building, because they want to make sure that they have a active user on that line. So once they deactivate and chlorinate it, that the line is clean, and they want to make sure that they have not stagnant water or laying in the pipes. They want the actual user on place. So as soon as we bring the building ready on site, Suez will energize that line in Church Street, which that gives us another benefit once we go energize, or once we approve connection to this building. But my point is, my recommendation is to reject it and then put it back out to bid.
Thank you.
Okay.
Resolution 17192, authorization to submit and execute grant agreement with the New Jersey Department of Transportation for the Vernon Town Center Bike and Walking Trails Phase 1 project. This resolution allows the mayor to sign the agreement for the aforementioned grant. The council has requested additional information on this matter, which was included in our packet. This is a grant for $250,000 in funds to be awarded to the township. If received, the township would match $15,000, which could be in kind. This resolution was requested to be tabled at the last meeting and added to the agenda today for action. May I have a motion to bring this from the table?
Motion. Second.
There's a second. May I have a motion? Roll call. Sorry.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Holmes?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 17192?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call. Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Holmes?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Resolution 17200, authorizing the award of contract for container services at the Township's Public Works and Animal Control facilities. This provides the services for garbage containers to Gata, our current vendor. Resolution 17201, authorizing the release of a performance bond for SES Americon ZB3043 for Block 180, lots 25, 25.01, and 25.02. This releases bonds for SES Americom as per the Township Engineer. Resolution 17202, resolution authorizing the cancellation of capital appropriation balances. The Township did not receive the grant for breathing apparatus. This cancels the matching funds appropriated. Resolution 17203, Chapter 159 resolution requesting approval of revenue and appropriation, amending the 2017 budget as a revenue and appropriation of $2,081.41. This resolution authorizes the acceptance of the body armor grant. Resolution 17204, transfer resolution, balance transfers. The Township is permitted to transfer funds in November and December for the Township budget. This transfers funds with surplus balances to those accounts that require more funds. Resolution 17205, 2017 salaries for non-union full-time employees. Animal Control Officer, Department Head. This establishes a salary for Jim Epperly, our Animal Control Officer. Resolution 17206, 2017 salary for non-union part-time employee to dispatcher. This provides a pay increase for the part-time police dispatcher. Resolution 17207, resolution of the Township of Vernon authorizing cancellation of 2017 taxes for properties known as Block 94, Lot 1.01, and Block 91, Lot 7.03, pursuant to NJSA 54:4-99. The Township issued tax sales on the above properties. The owner sold the property to a tax-exempt entity, but neither the previous owner nor the entity notified the township of the sale. This cancels the balances for the last 2 years of taxes. Resolution 17208, resolution authorizing Township Council to reject all bids for the proposed water service lines to the Vernon Township Municipal Building and DPW Garage. The township had a public bid opening on October 19th. The bids were over the engineer's estimate. Mr. Stoner is here, and as he did answer questions. May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 17200 through 17208?
Motion. Wait, I just want you to pull out 204. 17204.
Okay. So may I have a motion to adopt Resolution 17200 through 17203, 17205 through 17208?
I'll amend my motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Koenig?
Yes.
Councilmember Bloom?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Yes. Resolution 17204. You have questions on it?
Yes. So it looks like your legal, you're moving over 191, is that correct? Yes. So, so in general, how much are we appropriating to legal fees in the end for 2017? So what are we going to?
This covers the 141 that we did the emergency appropriation for, and then there's an additional 50 because we still have the remainder of the year for the litigation.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know what we're going to have in the next few months.
Okay, so that 50's taken up that gap. Oh,
Right.
Okay, all right.
It's not money that's been spent, but I foresee that amount, so.
To pay the remainder. So it could possibly come up to $500,000 if we use that 50,000.
And then the salaries and wages for road repairs, we had parks, seasonal help, we had leftover money for the seasonal help, so we're gonna move it into road repairs for snow, for seasonal snow, so I just moved that line item.
Why were you over when it came to the group insurance and Social Security? Just curious.
Well, with group insurance, we always book extra because you don't know if somebody's going to leave or somebody's going to retire and you have to hire a new person. Then you're going to have additional, you're going to have 2 health insurance basically that you're going to pay. So you always need to factor in extra in case you do. I mentioned that when we were doing our budget.
Now I recall that now that you're saying that. And how much extra do you normally put in? Just curious.
It's usually 1 or 2 employees at family coverage.
So like 150, I mean, or 90?
No, I don't think it's normally, there's not that much extra in there this year.
Okay, and what about Social Security?
Social Security, I went up based on 2% from the previous year. And like I said, you don't know if you have payouts for people retiring, so then you need to make sure you have Social Security in there for that. You don't know what the overtime's going to be. Like, we didn't use all our overtime, so therefore there's extra Social Security. If we used it all, we probably would have used more Social Security because that's 7.65% of that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
May I have a motion to adopt Resolution 17203?
Motion.
Is there a second?
204.
Oh, I'm sorry. Resolution 204. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilmember Koenig?
Yes.
Councilmember Holmes?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Brown?
Yes. Next, we have introduction, the first reading of proposed ordinances. Ordinance 17-17, ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 5 of the Code of the Township of Vernon regarding Bureau of Animal Control. Currently, animal control is under the Office of Administration. The ordinance moves the Bureau to be a civilian division of the Police Department to better coordinate services. Chief Mills, well, he's not here this evening, so Mr. Volker, do you have any comments on this ordinance that you'd like to make?
Sure. Approximately a year ago, the mayor and I discussed this. It is in other communities done where the animal control comes under the auspices of the police department. For all intents and purposes, your animal control people are and enforcement arm of the municipality. Earlier in the year, I met with Chief Mills to discuss this with him. He said he was certainly open to it, and as recently as the last couple of months, I've met with Tom Valero, the recently retired head of animal control, Jim Epperly, the person who will succeed him, Chief Mills, Captain Young, and at least one of the lieutenants, and they're all in agreement that they believe that this process would work well. We feel that there will be better efficiency and effectiveness for the department. We realize this having gone through some difficult times last year with the prosecution of the one specific animal complaint with regard to the potentially dangerous dog, with some of the difficulties we had, especially when it got to the Superior Court level on appeal. So that, and I believe that in most cases, your animal control officers have a better standing in the community. There's more professionalism. There'll be better training, and I think just a better overall, like I said, efficiency and effectiveness for this department. All it will mean, though, is the change is that it'll be reporting to the chief of police instead of reporting to the business administrator. That's essentially the only major change in the ordinance.
Will that require, will they now get different pay status now that they're taking over?
No.
Does anybody have any questions?
I find in the description, section 1, that either the word may or also is a little bit confusing. I realize that it refers to 2 sentences before. Maybe the order of that should be changed.
Where did you see that then?
Down here. May or also.
In other words, in section 1?
May also be appointed.
Yeah.
Can be with mayor.
I mean, it almost sounds like the chief would also do the appointing as an afterthought. So I would change subordinate officers to the sentence before it.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understood your question. Is there,
It's
you're
not a
asking
question,
why
it's observation.
why it was phrased this way?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Dan. It doesn't read right.
Yeah, the certified animal control officer shall be supervised by the police of, the chief of police or his designee is kind of out of order. Subordinate officers should come after the word mayor, I would think.
Well, the mayor does the appointments.
Yes.
That's why it was, the
But the
first
certified
part was the
animal control
supervision
officer
and
is an interruption of the trend of thought there. It almost looks like the chief can also appoint.
No, the chief would not appoint.
Yes. I think by changing those sentences, you'll make it clear. As I had in a discussion with you, I would like to see this have a sunshine.
Yeah, it makes it, right, you're right, Dan. It makes it look like the chief of the police and the mayor,
Yes.
the way it reads. Yes, the wording needs to be changed.
I'll defer to Mr. Zelinski on that one.
What's the suggested, I'm not quite sure what the suggested revision is to section 1. The ordinance hasn't been introduced yet, so it can be revised and then introduced as revised. So if, Mr. Kadish, if you have a revision, you can propose that that revision be the introduced version of the ordinance.
Okay.
All right.
And what is it?
I just proposed it.
Are you suggesting that the last sentence be swapped?
Yes.
And that become the next to the last sentence, and then the certified animal control officer be the last sentence?
Yes.
So the revision to the...
Take also out, may also be, and that's what makes it read funny. Right?
But if you change it to will also, it's different. Anyway, I think it would be clearer if you did that. And I would like to see a sunshine clause of 3 years.
There needs to be a motion to introduce the ordinance as amended.
Am I allowed to make my motion?
You can make the motion. You can.
Well,
I'll
were
make
there
the
any
motion.
other, well, before you do that, were there any other questions?
Yeah. You're telling me that the reason for this whole change is because of that ordinance?
No. I'm telling you that I think that the police department in this town is extremely well-run, and that, especially now with the retirement of somebody who has been a mainstay as far as running that department, having it fall under the police department is the better way to go. We wanted to wait to this point in time. I think that it will run, like I said, much more efficiently and effectively by having the leadership that you have.
May I ask where it hasn't been running efficiently? I've always thought that our animal control department was being run very well. As a matter of fact, we were, commercializing our services to other townships. So educate me as to where there were problems previously.
It's not that there was anything wrong with it, Mr. Rizzuto, is that we felt it would be improved and enhanced. There's always room for improvement, I believe, and I think that the training that's involved with what the police department does on a regular basis, and because they work very closely hand in hand, most calls for animal complaints are initially handled by the police and then may subsequently fall to the animal control officers. So I thought the coordination would be better served in that respect as well.
I don't know. I'm just a little skeptical on this, but
Are there any other questions? Mr. Wetzel, any? Okay.
Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance as revised by Council Member Kadish?
Yeah, I'll make the motion, right?
Mr. Kadish can make the
You
motion.
can make the motion, but make the motion, you're going to read it? You want him to read it?
Do you want me to read the revisions?
I'm still thinking.
Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll make the second. Do you want to read the revision?
So the revisions to the ordinance are as follows. The current last sentence, subordinate officers and employees of the Bureau of Animal Control may also be appointed and removed by the mayor, shall become the next to the last sentence of Section 1. The last sentence of Section 1 will be certified animal control officer shall be supervised by the chief of police or his designee. This provision of the township code will expire after 3 years of enactment.
Is it, you need a second, I take it?
We did that.
Gene seconded.
Oh, okay.
Council President Murphy.
Roll call.
Excuse me.
I just want to follow, this provision of the township code will expire after 3 years, and then what happens?
It will expire and no longer be in force or effect.
And then where does animal control go?
Animal control would revert.
So should we include that language?
Yes.
Animal control will revert.
Unless the council at that time decides to continue it.
I'll let you keep my copy.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Councilmember Cady?
Yes.
Councilmember Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries to introduce ordinance 1717 in public hearing on November 27th.
Next, we have public hearing, second reading of ordinances. Ordinance 17-16, an ordinance authorizing the sale of certain land in Vernon Township to be sold at private sale in accordance with NJSA 40A:12-13B5. This ordinance authorizes the sale of various lots that are no longer needed. By selling these lots, the township will return these properties to the tax rolls, benefiting the taxpayer. May I have a motion to open to the public for ordinance 1716?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Is there anyone from the public that would like to address this ordinance?
Yeah.
Hi, Roseanne Brennan, 17 Lakeside Drive, Highland Lakes, New Jersey. Would that include the Faline building by any chance?
No.
No, it wouldn't, right? Would that be under a separate issue? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that has a comment? Seeing no one else stepping forward, may I have a motion to close to public?
Can we just, we need to remove one property from this.
Okay.
It's,
Well, let me,
okay.
yeah, can I have a motion to close?
Sorry.
Motion.
Is there a
Second.
second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You'd like to remove?
Block 200.10, lot 26.
Can you speak a little louder? I'm sorry.
It's block 200.10, lot 26. It's .30 acres, 552 Grandview Drive. There's an issue with that property we were made aware of, so we want to hold off on trying to sell that.
In the 2 weeks, can we adjust or amend this list or not?
We can, I believe the ordinance says that we can remove any properties up until the date of the
Sale?
bids.
Oh.
And then when the bids come in, there'll be a resolution approving all of them, and you can reject any bids at that time as well.
Correct.
But all these things that were discussed tonight will be included,
Which?
that the public had discussed?
Well, those two, I believe, I need to double check the records, but I believe that one of them was a conforming lot, because I had a list of all the people interested in properties. One of them is a conforming lot, so that doesn't fall under this section, so it would be sold in the spring, but not saying that we couldn't do a separate ordinance to sell them.
But they're not on,
Auction.
but they're not on this list.
But they're not on
They're
this
not
list
on this
currently.
list.
They
That
don't
was your
fall
question.
under the non-conforming with the minimum width in the road frontage. The one may, but the other one I don't believe does.
And the signed property?
Excuse me?
The signed property?
The signed property is a conforming lot. It's a larger lot.
That's on
That
our list.
also could be a separate ordinance if we wanted to before the sale in the spring.
Yeah.
So you could do a separate one.
We could do a separate one. That's an option if we didn't want to wait until the spring. Because we know we have buyers. Or interested parties, I should say.
Motion.
Well, let me read it first. May I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1716 excluding block 200.10, lot 26?
Motion.
Is there a second? Roll call?
Remember the second one?
Sandy Gomes.
Councilmember Kadesh?
Yes.
Councilmember Owens?
Yes.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
Yes.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yes.
Council President Murphy?
Yes.
Motion carries with removal of block noted.
Next, we have council comments. Councilmember Kadesh, do you have any comments?
Mayor, is there?
I was just informed, if somebody has a Ford Explorer,
Yeah, Silver Explorer sitting right in the front lot, headlights on.
its headlights are on, and I just don't know how much the battery's in there, so I don't want to see someone's battery die. Good luck. That's mine. Thank you.
We'll give you a jump.
Sorry.
Yeah, I have something.
Council comments? Councilmember Kadesh?
Congratulations to Mark and John. Really appreciate it. Thank you. That's enough.
Councilmember
Okay, I
Owens?
have quite a bit, so sit back and relax. Two things. Congratulations to Mr. Auberger, Mr. Van Tassel, and Ms. Murphy. Congratulations. Tom Malero announced his retirement, and from what I understand, he worked here for 30 years. He seems like he's been here forever. So I wish him luck in his retirement. And I was wondering if we could do a proclamation for the next meeting, acknowledging his retirement and his service to the community. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make that a motion. Maybe we can even include find a few cents in the budget and get him a plaque.
He got a plaque, sir. Yes.
Do we need a roll call for that? Proclamation?
No.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And so my next item is I'd like to put on the table an make a motion. I'd like to bring back voting on the bills list going forward. I think that would be prudent and very responsible of us. I know it's been talked about, and I think as a council, we should be doing this. Can I get a second? And a resolution to be put on the next agenda for this.
I'll move that. A very nice lady approached me and asked me to reconsider my opinion, and I'll do that in face of what the council might want to consider.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. So I'd like to put a resolution on the next agenda for a vote. So do we need to vote that?
No, I don't think you really needed to go through all that. Just ask if you could have a resolution put on.
Okay.
I mean, that's really all it would take.
All right, so.
We could have just asked the attorney to draft that.
Okay.
Can we discuss it?
Doesn't matter.
You can discuss it.
Well, we'll vote
You
on
can
it next
discuss
week.
it. You can discuss it at that time, once the
Okay.
resolution is written. Is there anything else?
No, that's it.
Councilmember Rizzuto?
No comment, other than my congratulations and best wishes to the new council. There are many, many problems that are confronting Vernon, and going to ask you to please, consider the long-term implications of all of your actions, because the township is definitely going to need that type of reflection as it moves forward.
Councilmember Wetzel?
Yeah, I'd like to thank all the people who came out to voted, whether you voted for Pat and I or not. But you did your civic responsibility. And when you pick up the papers and watch television and you see athletes that don't want to stand for the national anthem, that's a shame. That's a crying shame. But you people did your civic duty. You came out, you voted, you elected these two gentlemen and re-elected Ms. Murphy. I congratulate all of them. And again, thank you for voting. And also, have a great Thanksgiving. Don't eat too much turkey, drive safely, and enjoy the holiday. And please, change the batteries in your smoke detectors. Change the clocks and change the batteries. Good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
Thank you. I would just like to remind everyone once again that on December 16th, Wreaths Across America, the organization, they'll be laying wreaths at the Glenwood Cemetery at 10 a.m. If anyone would like to sponsor a wreath, I think as of today they were at 47 of their goal was 200. The wreaths are $15. If you go through the organization, if you go online for Wreaths Across America and you click onto the fundraising group for Glenwood Cemetery, $5 of the 15 will actually go towards, be refunded to towards a scholarship for the high school. And again, like I said, as of this afternoon, there were 47 out of 200, so they're $15. So if you know anyone that is there and you'd like it to actually be dedicated towards that person, you may do so, or you may just do one on your own. But everyone's invited to the cemetery that day to actually help lay the wreaths after the ceremony. That's all I have.
And what's the website?
Wreaths Across America. So if you just follow it, it'll actually ask you if it's a what cemetery, or it'll ask you what town, and if, when it goes to the fundraising group, if you go to that link where it says fundraising group and you put in Glenwood Cemetery, you should be linked to the right one. I think it'll say Van Blarcom, but then it goes right towards that fund. And you'll see you'll see actually where it has the amount that have actually already been donated.
Okay, thank you.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.